So a few years ago, my sister-in-law and brother-in-law passed along this great recipe for a taco dip. I made a few adjustments, the main one being using mayonnaise instead of Miracle Whip and adding a little bit more cheddar cheese. So I'll run through the ingredients. 1 package of cream cheese, half a cup of mayonnaise, 1 small jar of taco sauce, 1 small onion, 1 green onion, 3 small bell peppers halved or 1 large bell pepper, 1.5 cups of shredded cheddar cheese, and 1 small tomato. So you can use chives instead of green onion. You can use a scallion as well, but I use what I have on hand. And this is the type of serving dish that works the best. Pretty much a pie plate shaped dish, roughly about 10 inches in diameter by 2 inches deep. So the first step is to mix up our mayo or Miracle Whip, depending on your preference, with the cream cheese, which hopefully has been softening for a while outside the fridge, but if not, it's not a big deal. We're going to mix those two together. So this is an 8-ounce size package of cream cheese, or I think 250 grams. So I'm just going to roughly cut this up into chunks. Makes it a little bit easier to mix. Now, of course, you can mix it by hand with probably a potato masher is what I sometimes use in a mixing bowl, but this time I'm going to use a little hand mixer. It speeds up the process. And it does, like I said, help if it has been softened for a while. This was only out of the fridge for about half an hour or so. So we're going to add our half a cup of mayonnaise. We typically don't use a lot of Miracle Whip, so we have mayonnaise always in the house. So that's what we usually go with. So the taste isn't that much different, and it's really your own preference as well. And I always use just plain cream cheese, not flavored. For this taco dip, because there's a lot of other flavors going on, so you don't want to. You want to just stay with the original recipe and just use plain mayo and plain cream cheese. Okay, so just on low to medium speed, hand mixer, no more than a minute, just enough to get them roughly mixed together, and you can do the rest by hand as well. So this is kind of going to be your thick base layer in the pan. And then you're going to have your sauce and your other ingredients, your peppers, your onion, and your cheese and other ingredients on top. So we're just going to layer everything, but this is going to be your base. So when people scoop in, when they go right down to the bottom, they're going to get all the layers. So this dip is pretty thick too, so whatever tortillas or tacos that you are buying, I would recommend not really ones that break easy, because this is known for breaking chips. So some people will scoop some of the dip onto a plate and then just grab a few tacos and do it that way, but yeah, this can be fairly thick. So we're just gonna spread that out in the bottom and take your time. Try to get each layer nice and consistent, so there's when someone scoops in, they get just as much at the edge as they would in the middle. You'll see also coming up in a second, I'll show you the taco sauce I use, President's Choice or Old El Paso, whatever brand name you want to use, but make sure you don't use salsa. The reason you want to use taco sauce, it's a thinner, less chunky consistency, and it's not as spicy, so it's works really well for this dip. Salsa, I think, would be extra thick. It's already thick enough on its own, basically, this dip, so make sure you use taco sauce instead of salsa. Okay, so the next step is to start cutting and dicing up our other ingredients. You want to use bell peppers. It's really up to you on whether you use 1 large pepper or I use 3. These are fairly small, different colors of bell peppers, so I just halved 3 of them. But you can use just 1 large pepper as well. There's no jalapeno in this particular dip. We want to keep it fairly neutral, so if you bring it to a party, you're not going to offend anyone if it's too hot. But you can certainly spice it up at home as much as you want. Okay, so we're going to try to get that all cut up into roughly the same size. You could use sweet onion. This is just a regular cooking onion, and it's very small, so it's you mix that in with the peppers, and that's kind of the second layer. And I'm going to speed up some of the videos so I don't bore you to tears. And you don't want to overdo it with the onion as well, because you do have a green onion as a garnish on top, or chives. So you don't want to, again, have too much onion and overwhelm people with onion flavor. And I just go through and pull out any chunks. And I always take the seeds out of my tomatoes. They hold a lot of water content, so you kind of want to just get the meat of the tomato. You don't have to do this, but I don't want a soggy dip, right? So. And that being said, I would avoid using like overripe tomatoes. Roma's a good choice too. It's pretty firm. Generally, you don't want to use a tomato that's soggy, or like I said, overripe. Okay, so we'll just finish cutting those into same size pieces. So I always trim off the end and then a little bit of the green of the green onion. And try to stay fairly fine with the rings. You could also omit having a green onion on top and use, parsley or chives, either dried or fresh chives, but it tends to look better and have a nice flavor with a green onion on top. So I've sped this up a bit so it's not so grating on people's nerves. But anywhere from a cup and a half to 2 cups. I add a little bit more cheese. I'm Dutch, so I like extra cheese. But yeah, I ended up with roughly 2-cup measurement. So I took that out of the fridge, the base, and we're just going to pour the entire jar, which is 7 ounces. And get the appropriate spoon to get everything out as much as you can. Again, taco sauce is not as spicy, and it's thinner, and it works really well for this dip. And if you are taking this to a party, it's obviously important to keep it as cold as possible until the time it is to serve, especially in the summertime. If this is sitting outside in the hot weather, probably not. But if it is, you do have mayo or some ingredients that may start to go bad. So make sure you keep it as cold as possible, or bring a cooler. But I'm glad they passed on this recipe, because it's kind of a favorite of a lot of people, and that's why I'm sharing it with you guys. Now, you don't have to do this much pepper. You can maybe do half of it if you want, but again, this is a fairly thick dip. But it adds a bit to the presentation to have different colors as well. The original recipe just called for 1 large green pepper, which actually looks really good too. So I just want to spread that out evenly. Again, try to keep all the layers about the same. And evenly spread out your cheese. This happens to be old cheddar cheese. You can use extra old, mild, medium, marbled. You can use Monterey Jack, whatever kind of shredded cheese you want to use is fine. But cheddar tends to work. Everyone kind of knows cheddar, and it works well. So spread it out evenly. Again, you want all your layers to be roughly the same. And when you're picking tortilla chips or tacos or whatever you want to call them, I would recommend, not buying the really big ones, because the dip will go really fast because people take extra big scoops. But Try to get ones that don't break so easy. Some of the brands, as soon as you try to scoop, they break, so it can get frustrating as well. So we're going to add our tomatoes and spread those out. It's always fun when family members pass along to each other some great recipes, you know, tried and true ones that tend to be favorites. But I guess it could be awkward if, say, you know, I made this and they made it, someone else made it, and we ended up with 3 dips at the same event. So it hasn't happened yet. Who knows? Okay, again for the topping, for garnish, you could use chives. I guess you could use parsley too. I've never tried that, but just something green basically. So these are the 2 packages that I have for this time around. These tend to break fairly easily, so not the best choice I would say, but they're good size anyway. So sometimes we'll just take some onto our plate and use a spoon to scoop it into the tortilla chip. But yeah, if you're careful enough, they don't break. And that's what it looks like when it's all done. Very delicious. Takes a bit of time to make, but it is well worth it. So give it a shot. Appreciate you watching. Stay tuned for more videos. Please subscribe, and bye for now.